So the reason that we're here, of course, is to enjoy the actual book. The books. Are you guys ready? Is everybody ready? Give me one in the chat if you're ready. If you're looking out there, just throw one out there and tell me you're ready. Because it's going to happen. It's going to happen one way or another. Alright, Big Day, thank you. There's one. Don't make him feel lonely out there. Come on. It's like, oh man, I hit one and nobody else hit one. Now I feel stupid. Oh, thanks, Big David. You're like a huge inspiration to me, and I really appreciate it. You're keeping me motivated and focused. And inspired. This is the book, And to Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street, by Dr. Seuss. This is his first book. Somebody want to pull up the wiki and tell us what yours is from? Maybe we'll do that between. But let's get into it. And to Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street, by Dr. Seuss. New York, the Vanguard Press. So, twist this up here. Okay. Next. Oh, come on. Not doing anything. Ah. Yeah. It has some keys. I'm sorry, I haven't used this reader before. Eileen McGee, mother of the one and original marker. 14th printing. There we go. Copyright 1957 by Dr. Seuss. Lithographed in the United States of America by the Polygraphic Company of America. Cameraman J. Yeah, maybe it's just the guys who own the books. Notice it was the guy who was the like literature specialist or whatever at Nebraska State. The guy with like the crazy hair and the big rim glasses and like obviously lives in like a library and never sees the sun.
Oh yes, we've known about this for a long time. I wrote my master's thesis on it in 1993.
When I leave home to walk to school, Dad always says to me, Marco, keep your eyelids up and see what you can see. But when I tell him where I've been and what I think I've seen, he looks at me and sternly says, Your eyesight's much too keen. Stop telling such outlandish tales. Stop turning minnows into whales. Now what can I say when I get home today? All the long way to school and all the way back, I've looked and I've looked, and I've kept careful track. But all that I've noticed, except on my own feet, was a horse and a wagon on Mulberry Street. That's nothing to tell of that won't do, of course. Just a broken down wagon, It's drawn by a horse. That can't be my story. That's only the start. I'll say that a zebra was pulling the cart. That is a story that no one can beat when I say what I saw on Mulberry Street. How can we up this story, man? We gotta make it more incredible. We need more clicks. We need more clicks. We need more followers.
By the way, subscribe and drop some donate and Streamlabs. Blah, blah.
You too can be the stream boss. With the story, it's got to get better because the zebra is fine. I mean, I think it's a shame. It's a marvelous beast with a cart to it. That's so tame. The story would really be better to hear if the driver I saw were a charioteer, a gold and blue chariot, something to meet, rumbling like thunder down Mulberry Street. No, it won't do at all. A zebra's too small. A reindeer is better. He's fast and he's fleet. And look, he looks so mighty on old Mulberry Street. Hold on a minute. There's something wrong. A reindeer hates the way it feels to pull a thing that runs on wheels. He'd be much happier instead if he could pull a fancy sled. But a reindeer in a sleigh? Say anyone could think of that. Jack or Fred, or Joe, or Nat. Say even Jane could think of that. But it isn't too late to make one little change. A sleigh and an elephant! There's something strange. I'll pick one with plenty of power and size, a blue one with plenty of fun in its eyes. And then, just to give him a little more tone, have a Raja with rubies, perched high on a throne. Say, that makes a story that no one can beat. Say that I saw it. Right here on Mulberry Street. But now I don't know. It doesn't seem right. The elephant's pulling a thing that's so light. He'd whip it around in the air like a kite. But he looks simply grand, with a great big brass band. A band that's so good, should have someone to hear it, but it's going so fast that it's hard to keep near it. I'll put on a trailer, I know they won't mind, if a man sits and listens while hitched on behind. He's got a little cute little house with like a little chimney and a little wood stove. But now, is it fair? Is it fair what I've done? I'll bet those wagons weigh more than a ton. That's really too heavy a load for one beast. I'll give him some helpers. He needs two at least. Giraffes. But now what worries me is this. Mulberry Street runs into Bliss. Unless there's something I can fix up. There'll be an awful traffic mix-up. You know what it takes? It takes police to do the trick, to guide them through where traffic's thick. It takes police to do the trick. They'll never crash now. They'll race at top speed with Sergeant Mulvaney himself in the lead. I don't know, this does seem kind of dangerous. This thing is getting a little out of control. It's almost hyperbolic. The mayor is there, and he thinks it is grand. He raises his hat as they dash by the stand. Mayor is there, and the aldermen, too, all waving big banners of red, white, and blue. And that is a story that no one can beat when I say what I saw on Mulberry Street. With a roar of its motor, an airplane appears and dumps on confetti with everyone cheers. That makes the story really not bad, but it still could be better. Suppose that I add... Wow, the mayor... You already got the mayor and the alderman waving the American flag? Oh boy. The metaphorical American flag, as you can see. Sorry, I can't read while there's no harpsichord music going on. Suppose that I add a Chinaman who eats with sticks, a magician doing tricks, a 10-foot beard that needs a comb. No time for more, I'm almost home. Oh, look, a preposterously out of place thing with another preposterously out of place thing with another preposterously out of place thing. Oh my god. Guys, are you feeling the hate right now? That's right. It's coming up. It's coming up from under where I put that beer. I'm just... Ugh. Well, you're probably going to have to say that to the council when they come in and they examine you for processing. Just say you never read a book. What books have you read? What's a book? I don't know. I just watch TV. Well, let us continue our education, our literary journey into white supremacy or whatever the hell. No time for more. I'm almost home. I swung round the corner and dashed through the gate. I ran up the steps and I felt simply great. For I had a story that no one could beat. And to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street. But Dad said quite calmly, just draw up your stool and tell me the sights on the way home from school. There was so much to tell, I just couldn't begin. Dad looked at me sharply and pulled at his chin and frowned at me sternly from there in his seat. Was there nothing to look at? No people to greet? Did nothing excite you or make your heart beat? Nothing, I said, growing red as a beet, but a plain horse and wagon on Mulberry Street. How a plain horse and wagon on Mulberry Street grows into a story that no one can beat. That's it, I guess. What happened? You don't end the book on an ampersand, Dr. Seuss. Ampersand on a... What do you call that when you put a bunch of periods? Like you just did, JP? Okay, now I need to do this. If I do this. I think that's the end of it. To tell you the gosh honest truth. Yeah, what did we say that was from 1957, 47? 37? It's a very racist story about a kid seeing boring stuff and making it all exciting in his imagination on his way home. I'm incredibly offended at the racial stereotypes in that one little picture of an actual person from China. And let's face it, at the time the book was written, well, it was after the you'd say communist revolution. They call it something else. But up until then, they were still wearing that kind of traditional garb, and they still wore it at family ceremony, like weddings and things like that. That was pretty much still acceptable. It was crazy, man. Okay, well, we're not going to get into that. That's like a subject for a whole stream. What we do need to do, though, is figure out how to unstick this stupid viewer. Which is probably just to close the window and reload it. And when we get back in, boom. Let's just make sure we saw the last page. Yeah, that was the last page. It was just like I say. Little kid heading home, trying to find some excitement in his mundane little life, blowing it up and being all creative and crazy with it, and just going cuckoo cockapoo boop boop boop, just to make it interesting. And he gets home and Dad's like, "So how was your trip?" And he's like, nothing." So what I have to do now is import a new one. Apt commands. Oh man, I hate apps. All right, we'll go to the file and we'll open the file instead. You guys digging the harpsichord music? It's freaking awesome, isn't it? There we go. The next one that we have in this particular file, McGilligan's Pool. Makes you want to dance around in powdered wigs and poncy high heels. Did you guys ever see Dangerous Liaisons? Also, hello, lunatic. It was anachronistic, is the problem. The Chinese guy was representative of a Chinese person from the 1800s to early 1900s. And it was accurate depiction of a Chinese person. It was just 50 years too late. And it took another 60 or 70 years for people to actually be offended by it. Good evening. McGilligan's Pool by Dr. Seuss. I have a feeling there's going to be fish. McGilligan's Pool. Bloop. Also, McGilligan's Pool. Alamo! What's up, brother? Nice emoji. Oh, I realized that I can actually upload 2 more emojis. I just have to design them. I haven't quite figured out what they. I need one that says like "hellos," you know, and I have a character involved, but I have to draw a good picture of him and then probably scan it in because I'm bad at digital art. So it might take a week or 2, but we'll get those other emojis up. You can also interact, guys, by scrolling down under the stream there and put farts on the stream and various other things. I think I put one on that's hats, where you can make me wear a stupid hat. I got some hats. But that one's going to cost you. Baby steps. This book is dedicated to T.R. Geisel of Springfield, Massachusetts, the world's greatest authority on blackfish, fiddler crabs, and deagle trout. McElligot's Pool, written and illustrated by Dr. SEUSS, Random House, New York. Also banned and removed from every place. Hard copy will cost you about $1,500. Here's a little fishy. Trademark, 47, sorry. Yeah, I think the last one was 1945. Young man, said the farmer, you're sort of a fool. You'll never catch fish in McElligot's pool. The pool is too small, and you might as well know it. When people have junk, here's the place that they throw it. You might catch a boot, or you might catch a can. You might catch a bottle. But listen, young man, if you sat 50 years with your worms and your wishes, you grow a long beard long before you catch fishes. Answered Marco. It may be you're right. I've been here 3 hours without one single bite. There might be no fish, but again, well, there might. 'Cause you never can tell what goes on down below. This pool might be bigger than you or I know. This might be a pool, like I've read of in books, connected to one of those underground brooks. An underground river that starts here and flows right under the pasture, and then, well, who knows? And you can see here the pool with the underground river that goes under the here's the pasture where the cow makes the dookies, and then it goes out. This is all underground though. This is cutaway perspective. Just trying to keep you guys oriented. It might go along down where no one can see, right under State Highway 203, right under the wagons, right under the toes of Mrs. Ambroso, who's hanging out clothes. It might keep on flowing, perhaps. Who can tell? Right under the people of Sneeden's Hotel, right under the grass where they're playing croquet, then under the mountains, far, far away. Just let you guys suck in the scenery for a little while here. I love how some ancient civilization built little pillars to support the underground river that's going somewhere. This might be a river. Now, mightn't it be? Connecting McElligot's Pool with the sea. Then maybe some fish might be swimming toward me. If such a thing could be, they certainly would be. Come on, little fishies! Come on, McElligot's Pool, this way! Right under Inverness. I was doing the thing again. Is this viewer, like, busted as fuck? God. Yeah, this player's just busted as fuck. I gotta get a better reader if I'm ever gonna do this kind of, if I'm ever gonna read these kind of files again on the stream. Some very smart fellow might point out the way to the place where I'm fishing. That's why I say, if I wait long enough, if I'm patient and cool, who knows what I'll catch in McElligot's pool. I might catch a thin fish. I might catch a stout fish. I might catch a short or a long drawn-out fish. Any kind, any shape, any color or size, I might catch some fish that would open your eyes. Oh, I have a feeling we're about to get racist here. Yeah, dams are a good way of clogging up the river so you can catch fish during breeding season. Durr. That's an eel. A long, drawn-out fish is an eel. Is this the problem? I don't know. Let's see how offensive it gets, huh? I have a feeling we're only just dipping our toes in the deep, dark, racist waters of McElligot's pool. I won't be surprised if a dogfish appears, complete with a collar and long floppy ears, woofing along, and perhaps he might chase a whole lot of catfish right straight to this place. That everybody knows that's where catfish come from. I might catch a fish with a pinwheel-like tail. I might catch a fish who has fins like a sail. I might catch some young fishes, some high jumping friskers. Sorry. Got a notification to back up my drive. I might catch some young fish, some high jumping friskers. I might catch an old one with long flowing whiskers. Fish don't have a body here. I might catch a fish with a long curly nose. I might catch a fish like a rooster that crows. I might catch a fish with a checkerboard belly. Even a fish made of strawberry jelly. Is it jelly? I might catch a seahorse. Now mightn't I? I might catch a fish who is partly a cow. I totally lost the kid's voice and I've gone straight into fancy voice. Some fish from the tropics, all sunburned and hot, might decide to swim up. Well, they might. Might they not? Racing up north for a chance to get cool. Full steam ahead from McElligot's pool. Some Eskimo fish from beyond Hudson Bay might decide to swim down. What? Might be headed this way. It's a pretty long trip, but they might. They may. Is this it? Is this where it's... Is this the offensive part? I don't know. Are we there yet? I might catch an eel. Oh, here's an actual eel, I think. Or a Boros eel. I might catch an eel. Well, I might. It depends. A long twisting eel with a lot of strange bends and, oddly enough, with a head on both ends. It doesn't catch this kind of fish as a rule, but the chances are fine. In McElligot's pool. I might catch a fish with a terrible grouch, or an Australian fish with a kangaroo's pouch. I used to go down in the creeks. Like, we used to go down and, like, as kids and build little dams in the river just to, like, kind of make little pools and stuff. There's no doubt that even with the most innocent intentions, we have impacts on the landscape. If we apply ourselves, we are the masters of nature. Who wants to catch small ones like mackerel or trout? Say, I'll catch a sawfish with such a long snout that he needs an assistant to help him about. Get a little helper fish. Just like Phil. If I wait long enough, if I'm patient and cool, who knows what I'll catch in McElligot's pool. Some roughneck old lobster, all gristle and muscle, might grab at my bait. Then I'd have a tussle. To land one so tough might take 2 or 3 hours, but the next might be easy. The kind that likes flowers. Oh, is that it? It's sexist now? Is that what's happening? I'm trying hard to find out where I should be really pissed. Is it because of the Rasta colors? Is that cultural appropriation? I don't know. I might catch some sort of fast-moving bloke who zips through the waves with an overarm stroke. I might, and I may. That's really no joke. Oh, there's manly man fish and girly girl fish. And there's Eskimo fish. Dude, so racist and sexist. Ugh. I'm disgusted. I don't even know how much more of this I can read. The stripped bass. It sounds sexy. You just use one P if you want the long vowel sound before it. A fish even faster, a fish if you please, who slides down the sides of strange islands on skis. He might ski on over and pay me a visit. That's not impossible, no. Really now, is it? You'd ski, yeah, skiing underwater. I mean, I think as far as the laws of physics, that might be impossible. Also, why isn't it pronounced skying? How do you spell skiing? I hate that. Do you put both of the I's in there? Oh my god, I have so many questions. Well, good. This probably isn't meant to be enjoyed sober. I don't know if Theodore Geisel was sober when he wrote these. Some circus fish! Fish from an acrobat school might stage a big show in McElligot's pool. See, he's like jumping. Boing! Wee! Harpsichord. Harpsichord's keeping me grounded. Or I might catch a fish from a stranger place yet, with the world's highest river in far off Tibet, where the falls are so steep that it's dangerous to ride 'em. So the fish put up chutes, and they float down beside 'em. Little parachute fish. This one's really happy. He's like, whee! And this dude's like, oh my goodness. I'm sorry, was I racist for making that? For saying, oh my goodness. Equality of opportunity is offensive to people who believe in opportunity of outcome. Socialists hate lobsters as well. Fucking lobsters with their fucking lobsterarchy. From the world's deepest ocean, from the way down below. From down in the mud where the deep divers go. From down in the mire and the muck and the murk, they might catch some fish who are all going blurk. And this guy's like, whoa, where are they going? They're going on like a weird sleepwalking fish march. Like it's some Lovecraftian ceremony to like a dark city where they're going to summon the elder fish god in their dreams. A whole new level. Have you been shown the light, JP? Is that what's happening? Or do you just have way too much time on your hands? Whales? That's right, motherfuckers. Whales? I'll catch whales. Here's the problem. Okay, now I see the problem. Right now, I can. All right. Gosh darn it. I'll catch whales, he says. Yes, a whole herd of whales, all spouting their spouts and all thrashing their tails. Catch 50 whales. Then I'll stop for the day. There's nothing that's bigger than whales, so they say. Still, of course, it might. There is something bigger, some sort of thingamajigger. A fish that's so big, if you know what I mean, that he makes a whale look like a tiny sardine. Oh, it sounds like heresy, sir. Oh, the sea is so full of a number of fish. It's a fellow. If a fellow is patient, he might get his wish. And that's why I think that I'm not such a fool when I sit here and fish in McElligot's pool. Banned. Banned. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is the perfect place to take a break. And then when we come back, we'll read the big meanie no-no of this whole debauchery. If I Ran the Zoo by Dr. SEUSS. Dr. SEUSS, sorry. Is that cool, guys? You guys cool with that? I'll make it look like this. I know it's sloppy, but I'm gonna go take a leak. I'll be right back. Read the first page of the wiki, and we'll see why the mainstream media and the teachers are complaining. He was clear with his political views, and they were anti the modern narrative. Yeah. No, that was one of the things that I always got. Spit this out before I go pee. Was that he was about letting your imagination free you from like the bullshit of society, like not being hindered by any modern narrative, any of the pablum puke that people throw at you and force you to try to conform to on a daily basis. Like his whole thing was stretch out and be good but be imaginative, kind of. Dude, like he went on to do the Sneetches, like Stars on Mars. You know, wasn't that like the ultimate like anti-classist, like anti-racist, like metaphor, allegory that you read as a kid? And anyway, and who sold all the Sneetches the stars on their bellies? It was basically some like capitalist shyster. But the capitalist shyster could just as easily be a communist, you know, sympathizer, like somebody saying like, oh yeah, we're gonna fix everything. Here's the, we just read two of the books that were banned, right? And one of them was for like a picture of a little guy dressed in Chinese garb called a Chinaman from 1945. And the book that we just read, which I don't know, it had like a fat fish in it, or was it the Eskimo fish? Like I don't know, like which part of that was supposed to be incredibly offensive besides the part where he kills a whale. 50 whales. Oh my god. Okay, I'm pissed and I have to go piss. So I will be back in just a minute. Please do enjoy the harpsichord music. Share the stream with your friends. If they're not watching, let them know what's going on, and all good fun things. I'll be right back. That didn't take too long. I just had to grab a Jello delicacy because there's nothing I like better while listening to good harpsichord music than eating a lovely gelatin. I had my requisite half pint of Sailor Jerry with lunch while watching the AAA meeting. Now I am sipping leisurely on a beer. Several different snacky things here of various health qualities. Doodly-doodly-doo. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the land of, oh my god, how many tabs does this guy have open? We're crying out loud. It is a strange place. At work, you mean out in the laboratory? In the barn? Sometimes you gotta trust the people around you, you know, if they're like, dude, I think you're fucking up, then like, yeah. Sometimes you gotta listen to it if they're serious. If it's like their preference, you can judge like, all right, you know, are they just being finicky, or do I really gotta shape my stuff up? Like if you're like really like, you know, significantly tied to the person and you care about them a bunch, then like you're like, oh, maybe I should, you know, they'll appreciate it. That'll make me happier. And as long as she's not like, you gotta go sober. I hate that being the choice. Like being able to indulge a little bit or just go sober. I'm gonna eat a cookie. A cookie, Ryan? Because if I ran the zoo, I would be able to eat cookies whenever I want. Good cookie. That's work. As long as you can do your work safely and drink, you know, if you're not like passing out on a lathe or something. Right? Like, we're adults here. You could be like, okay, this is going to take an hour to distill. I can have a beer, and then it'll distill, and then I'll do whatever I have to do to get the next process going, and then I'll have another beer, and then... Only fifth deal in absolute. Amen, JP. All right. If I ran the cookie by Dr. Seuss. If my name were McGrew and I ran the zoo. If I ran the zoo by Dr. Seuss. Published by Random House, New York. Random House, you racist, filthy, non-cookie liking people. Or Tony. And Michael Gordon Tackaberry Thompson. It's not a real person. Trademark 1950. Oh. It's a pretty good zoo, said young Gerald McGrew. The fellow who runs it seems proud of it, too. But if I ran the zoo, said young Gerald McGrew, I'd make a few changes. That's just what I'd do. The lions and tigers and that kind of stuff they have up here now are not quite good enough. You see, things like these in just any old zoo, they're awfully old-fashioned. I want something new. So I'd open each cage, I'd unlock every pen, let the animals go and start over again. Somehow or other, I think I could find some beasts of a much more unusual kind. A 4-footed lion's not much of a beast. The one in my zoo will have 10 feet at least. 5 legs on the left and 5 more on the right. Then people will stare and they'll say, what a sight! This zookeeper, new keeper Gerald's quite... Gerald? 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 Quite keen. That's the gold darnest lion I ever done seen. My new zoo, McGrew Zoo, will make people talk. The new zoo, McGrew Zoo, will make people gawk at the strangest odd creatures that ever did walk. Get for my zoo a sort of a hen who roosts in another hen's top knot, and then another one roosts in the top knot of his, and another in his, and another in his, and so forth and upward and onward. Gee whiz. But that's just the start. I'll do better than that. They'll see me next day in my zookeeper's hat, coming into my zoo with an elephant cat. He's so surprised they'll all swallow their gum. They'll ask, when did they see my strange animals come? Where do you suppose he gets things like that from? His animals all have such very odd faces that he must hunt them in rather odd places. I think after about a year or two at a particular job with a year or two experience, you're doing the same thing every day. I think you just deserve a beer. If you wind up getting your hand caught in the, in the pneumatic press, that's at that point that's your fault, one way or another.
And that's what I'll do.
Said young Gerald McGrew.
If you want to catch beasts you don't see every day, you have to go places quite out of the way. You have to go places no others can get to. You have to get cold. You have to get wet, too. Up past the North Pole, where the frozen winds squeal, I'll go and I'll hunt in my Skiegelmobile. Bring back a family of, what do you know? That's how my new zoo, the Grew Zoo, will grow.
These are what do you knows, I guess. I like his Skiegelmobile. It's pretty metal. I would say, okay, this is maybe a whistle or something. You just need like some major exhaust pipes off the side with like flames shooting out. That's metal as hell. Every man deserves a break room fridge full of beer, lunatic. Ain't no shame in that. I'll hunt in the mountains of Zumba my tent, with helpers who all wear their eyes
At a slant.
and capture a fine fluffy bird called the bustard, who only eats custard with sauce made of mustard. And also a very fine beast called the flustard, who only eats mustard with sauce made of custard. Oh my goodness. Look at how racist this is to the Zamba Matantans. Apparently a race of people that exist in a country that does not exist. But their eyes are slanty. You can see, literally, they're like at a 45-degree angle. That is technically a slant. This guy has a hat. This is pretty much like kind of like a Tibetan-style tribal hat here. And these shoes are pretty, these like are a Japanese thing. But I'm sure this is very offensive to somebody. It must be like pretty limiting in work in Vancouver, JP. Like exterior finishing is like the kind of thing you can only do when it's, when the weather is somewhat decent and it's not gonna like rain on whatever you do for a couple of days. Yeah, I painted houses for a summer down here in LA. I basically working like in 90, 100-degree heat all day, sanding and finishing and painting. And it was like this small one guy and us company, and he was the only one who had the sprayer. So when it came time to paint, like we'd have to like work with rollers until he came by with the sprayer and spray. And he'd finish a wall in like 5 minutes, and we'd been like working all day on it. Like, we'd be like, damn it, dude, you could save a lot of money on labor if you had left the sprayer with us. Fuck. Right, everybody's locked down. They're like beginning to realize how horribly their domicile is deteriorating. They're like, oh, now that hole in the roof is really starting to bother me. Well, guys, I don't know about you, but I feel like this is a total symbol of white supremacy. This guy is paying all of these guys more money than they make in a month to carry this, whatever it is, down the hill. And it probably doesn't even weigh that much. It's all made of floof. It looks a little dangerous too, like it knows something. Like I don't necessarily trust it. It looks a little too happy to be in that cage. It's like, oh yeah, take me down to the city. I'm gonna eat everybody. I thrive off the lamentations of your women. Can I read this again? Because this is the offensive text that goes along with this image. I'll hunt in the mountains of Zumba Matant, where helpers who all wear their eyes at a slant, and capture a fine fluffy bird called the bustard, who only eats custard with sauce made of mustard, and also a very fine beast called a flustard, who only eats mustard with sauce made of custard. It's fun. Yeah, it's not a... Yeah, it looks like they were they were gonna catch something else. It looks pretty flimsy in the first place. And it probably like bounces off their heads every time they take a step, you know, all the way down the hill. I don't know where this guy's going, but he's like, I'm feeding my whole village this week. Yay! I caught a bustard. And apparently this is a flustard over here. This is a bustard who only eats custard, which is why he's kind of pudgy, right? With a sauce made of mustard. Mustardy custard. Awkward. And this is a flustard over here who only eats mustard with a sauce made of custard. And yet he's like twice the size, because it seems to me the caloric intake would be, if custard were the base of the dish, you would probably, you know, you could get some girth on you, and it might like support your growth during, you know, your formative years, your adolescence. And but if you're only eating mustard and then just like putting a little custard sauce on top of it, like how do you get that bit? Is there a lot of high fructose corn syrup or something, or there must be something else going? I don't know. I'm very confused about this. The more I try to figure it out, the more I go insane, which is pretty much like all the people who tried to ban this book because so I'll catch them in caves, and I'll catch them in brooks, and I'll catch them in crannies, and I'll catch them in nooks that you don't read about in geography books. I'll catch them in countries that no one can spell, like the country of Madafapadapapel. In a country like that, if a hunter is clever, he'll hunt up some beasts that he never saw ever. I'm sure in Madafapadapapel, there's probably all kinds of crazy shit running around in those jungles. Whoa! That imaginary colonizer would travel to an imaginary island to hunt imaginary beasts. Yeah, I think that's it, JP. I think that's pretty much it. Or a big part of it. It's more like certain people got their degrees in being offended, and so they have to look for something to be offended in order to actually make a living, because that's the only thing with that's what they wrote their master's thesis on, was like being offended, you know? So they go out into the job market world and they're like, hi, I want to work for this cool company. All right, what are your qualifications? Well, I have a degree in being offended, you know? And like only like Google and you know, and Facebook moderators Those were the only people that picked up the phone. I'll load up 5 boats with a family of jotes whose feet are like cows, but wear squirrel skin coats. Sit down like dogs, but have voices like goats. Excepting they can sing the very high notes. Right, when you're a kid, 1 year is a much higher ratio of your life. I mean, I don't have a kid. Here's how I look at it. I would feel really sorry for my kids this year. And I know people who do have kids and they're like, going nuts from not being in school and stuff. It's totally depressing and sad what they're going through right now. But they'll be okay. They'll be okay in the long. Everything is depressing and sad when you're a teenager, right? Like, it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. You're gonna be angsty. Some people turned it into a whole thing. They called it emo. I used to write really shitty poetry when I was a teenager. Guys, I've been thinking about doing a stream. I'm sorry, I don't mean to like stop on every page. We're gonna make this a 10-hour stream. But I was thinking about doing a stream, not necessarily like a whole full feature stream, but like a day, like a log, like a dream journal log, because I have dreams where like I wake up in the morning and I'm like, God damn, I gotta tell somebody about this fucking dream. This is amazing. Like the night before last, I had a dream about a small coastal community in the Pacific Northwest on the California coast. It was like isolated and on the cliffs, and there was like this tiny little town that was like kind of like a RV community. Don't worry, I'll try to keep this short. And there was kind of like, one of the houses in it was like kind of haunted. It was like, it happened to be the place where our main protagonist / me was going to stay. And it turned out that the house was haunted, and there was a woman living in it who was like possessed by like a demon who was like feeding off of the dead spirits of an airplane crash that happened off the coast, and somebody had moved the what was found of the wreckage of the airplane like into the basement of that house, and so the dead spirits of the people who died in the plane crash were creating bad juju, and and then like at the end, they had like thought that they had kind of resolved. It's so crazy, resolved everything. But the girl like slipped off the rocks and like into the surf, and he was like, oh no, are you okay? And then she like, she looked like she was like drowned for a minute or had been knocked out and killed or whatever. But then like started moving and like got up and turned her face up, and she had like tentacles growing out of her face and shit. And she was like. And he was like, no. She's like, I don't want to go, but I have to. This is the new thing. I have tentacle face now. Crazy shit, man. It's just a dream. It's gotta be worth some money to like Roger Corman or something. So this guy is going to great lengths to gather beasts from all around the world for his zoo. Let's see how racist it gets. And then I'll go down to the wilds of Nantucket. I don't know what that is. It's a place. And capture a family of lunks in a bucket. Then people will say, I like that boy heaps. His new zoo, McGrew Zoo, is going by leaps. He captures them wild and he captures them meek. He captures them slim and he captures them sleek. What do you suppose he will capture next week? I know, write that shit down. I know. Last night I had a house party where there was like a bunch of cocaine going around and there was music. My dreams. Just like who knows what the hell is. Yeah, in that case, last night my subconscious mind wanted a lot of cocaine and sex. I'll capture one tiny. I'll capture one cute. I'll capture a deer that no hunter would shoot. A deer that's so nice he could sleep in your bed if it weren't for those horns he has on his head. And again, I've drifted into my lofty voice. I know, like, look at those horns, man. Dude. Also, those are antlers, not horns, guys. Technicality, but everybody should know. Look at this shit. And speaking of horns that are just a bit queer, I'll bring back a very odd family of deer. A father, a mother, two sisters, a brother whose horns are connected from one to the other. Whose horns are so mixed that they can't tell them apart. Can't tell where they end and can't tell where they start. Each deer's mighty puzzled. He's never yet found if his horns are her horns or the other way around. Boy, it took a long time making sure that like all the horns were entangled, so to speak. Wink, wink, wink. I'll capture them fat and I'll capture them scrawny. I'll capture a scragglefoot mulligatawny. High-stepping animal, fast as the wind from the blistering sands of the desert of Zind. This beast is the beast that the brave chieftains ride when they want to go fast to find some place to hide. Mulligatawny is fine for my zoo. So is a chieftain. I'll bring back one too. Okay. I mean, just look at the funny outfits they wear. He's gonna put a chieftain in his zoo, ladies and gentlemen. Childhood ruined. I'm racist now. In the far western part of southeast North Dakota. So like Fargo. There's a very fine animal called the iota. But I'll capture one who is even much finer in the northeastern west part of South Carolina. When people see him, they will say, now by thunder, this new zoo, McGrew Zoo. It's really a wonder. I love that picture. Look at that hair, man. It's magnificent. Good God. What product are you using? Most beasts are quite friendly, but still in some lands, some beasts are too dangerous to catch with bare hands. For those that are ugly and vicious and mean, I'll build a bad animal catching machine. It's rather expensive to build such a kit, but with it a hunter can never get bit. And then I'll go out and I'll capture some chugs. Oh, wait. A zoo should have bugs. So I'll capture a thwirl whose legs are snarled up in a terrible snarl. That is pretty terrible. And then I'll go out and I'll capture some chugs, some keen shooter, mean shooter, bean shooter bugs. Pew pew pew. Pew 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 pew. Little flourish on the harpsichord. Are you guys feeling indoctrinated to white colonist slave triarchy? I'll go to the African island of Yurka and bring back a tizzle-topped tufted mazurka, a kind of canary with quite a tall throat. His neck is so long, if he swallows an oat for breakfast the first day of April, they'll say it has gone down such a very long way that it gets to his stomach on the 15th of May. There are actual tribes in Africa who, I mean, they're not, I mean, okay, it's a little racist. Keeping in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that the island of Yurka is not a real place. These people do not exist in the real world. Have you ever been to Yurka? I've been to Mallorca. Where's Polydub when you see that's Mallorca? It's an actual island off the Spanish coast. That's pronounced Mallorca. I'll bag a big bug who is very surprising. A feller who has a propeller for rising. And zooming around making cross-country hops from Texas to Boston with only 2 stops. Now that sort of thing for a bug is just tops. And when I've caught him, then the next thing you know, I'll go and I'll capture a wild tic-tac-toe. With X's that win, with zeros that lose, he'll look mighty good in this zoo of McGrews. I'll bring back a gusset, a gherkin, a gasket, and also a gooch from the wilds of Nantasket. And 8 Persian princes will carry the basket. Oh, racist, racist. And what their names are, I don't know, so don't ask it. This is foreign, 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 and foreign. Oh my. In a cave in Khartoum lives a beast called the Natch. There's no other hunter's been able to catch. He's hidden for years in his cave with a pout, and no one's been able to make him come out. But I'll coax him out with a wonderful meal that's cooked by the cooks in my cooker-mobile. They'll fix up a dish that is just to his taste. 3 chicken croquets made of library paste. Then sprinkle... Sounds like a gelatin. Then sprinkled with peanut shucks. Pickled and spiced. Then baked at 600 degrees and then iced. It's mighty hard cooking to cook up such feasts, but that's how the new zoo, McGrew Zoo, gets beasts. I don't know, I mean, the Natch looks pretty stoked with the jellies. Natch. I'll go to the faraway mountains of Topsk, near the river of Nopsk, and I'll bring back an Obsk. A sort of a kind of a thingamabobsk, who only eats rhubarb and corn on the Kobsk. Then people will flock to my zoo in a mobsk. McGrew, they will say, what a wonderful jobsk. He hunts with such vim and he hunts with such vigor. This new zoo, McGrew Zoo, gets bigger, bigger. They're all flubbergoosted. And speaking of birds, there's the Russian Paluski, whose head ski is red ski and belly is blue ski. I'll get one of them for my Zooski Magrooski. I mean, who wouldn't want one of those? Okay. 1957, guys. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. A nerd. A seersucker. Oh boy, here we go. Then the whole town will gasp, why this boy never sleeps, no keeper before ever kept what he keeps. There's no telling what that young fellow will do, and then just to show them, I'll sail to Catrue and bring back an Ikkuch, a Preep and a Prue, a Nurgle, a Nerd, and a seersucker too. Oh, he's sucking seers. Nice. Apparently they have seer on Catrue. The Prue looks kind of sweet. It's like, oh, I have heart-shaped ears. It's grows out of my head. The nerd looks kind of upset. Doesn't have a lot going on for him. This is probably before gaming became a big hobby. All right, here we go. 0 deaths. Let me stretch my hands here. Ow, wow, wow. All right. I'll hunt in the jungles of Hipponohungus and bring back a flock of wild Biponobungus. The Biponobungus from Hipponohungus are better than those down in Dipponodungus and smarter than those out in Nippononungus. And that's why I'll catch them in Hipponohungus instead of those others in Nungus and Dungus. And people will say when they see these blips bounding, this zookeeper's simply astounding. He travels so far that you'd think he would drop. When do you suppose this young fellow will stop? Stop? Well, I should. But I won't stop until I've captured the Fizzle-Ma-Wizzle-Ma-Dill, the world's biggest bird from the island of Guark, who only eats pine trees and spits out the bark. And boy, when I get him back home to my park, the whole world will say young McGrew's made its mark. He's built a zoo better than Noah's whole ark. These wonderful, marvelous beasts that he chooses have made him the greatest of all the McGrewses. Wow, they'll all cheer. What this zoo must be worth. It's the gold darndest zoo on the whole face of the earth. I mean, it does look pretty kicking. I mean, if I walked into a zoo and saw this shit going on, I would be like, amazeballs! I'm gonna need some cotton candy for this shit. Yes, that's what I'll do, said young Gerald McGrew. I'd make a few changes if I ran the zoo. I feel like I need to renounce my supremacy. I need to recognize my snivelage. Scrambled Egg Super from 1953. This is the last of the books that I have downloaded that have been banned and cost $700 to $2,000 on Amazon now if you want to get a hard copy. This is one of the most expensive ones because it's one of the rarest. I hope everybody has been enjoying this voyage into literary something. Perhaps enlightened. Perhaps you feel enlightened. Perhaps you feel woke, even. Oh, well, I got other, if you want to go on a SEUSS-a-thon, I mean, it was his birthday yesterday. I've got like 8 more books that I downloaded that we can go through. I figured we'd just run through the ones, I mean, geez, it's already been an hour and a half. I said it would probably be about that long to get through these. But we could go marathon style and just read all of the Dr. Seuss. I mean, I was like listing off the ones just I could think of in my head. You know, the Lorax, Horton Hears a Who, Yertle the Turtle. There's the one that has like 3 stories in it, and it has the Sneetches in it, and then you know, Cat in the Hat. There's like 2 or 3 of those, and it's the Generous Miss. Yeah, and there's a bunch of them that I downloaded. So, but let's go ahead and find out what's so evil about Scrambled Eggs Super. Since we have already exposed the horrible thought atrocities from the previous books, and I almost feel like 10 times more racist now, and I don't really see much way to reconcile it, so I think I'm going to have to go out and build concentration camps and assassinate anybody who doesn't look like me, just to normalize my imagination. What? What? I know, nothing that I just said makes sense. Doesn't make sense at all. Is this like a metaphor for daily life right here? Scrambled Eggs Super by Dr. Seuss. Published by Random House of New York. They put the little house on the hill, and that's cute. Well played. For Libby, Orlo, Brad, and Barry Childs. Trademark 1953 by Dr. Seuss Enterprises. I don't like to brag, and I don't like to boast, said Peter T. Hooper. But speaking of toast, and speaking of kitchens and ketchup and cake, and kettles and stoves and the stuff people bake, well, I don't like to brag. But I'm telling you, Liz, that speaking of cooks, I'm the best that there is. Why, only last Tuesday when Mother was out, I really cooked something worth talking. Oh, if you guys can come up with that, the name of that silly movie, live action movie that was made with like a little kid in the 50s, or yeah, it was like in the mid 50s or something. And I can't remember who directed it, but it's really weird. It was based on Dr. Seuss books. Maybe we can watch it. I'm a little busy right now. but if you can find it. You see, I was just sitting there raising my legs, and I happened to pick up a couple of eggs, and I sort of got thinking, it's sort of a shame that scrambled eggs always taste always the same. And that's because ever since goodness knows when, they've always been made from the eggs of a hen. Just a plain common hen. What a dumb thing to use, with all of the other fine eggs you could use. So I decided that just for a change, I'd scramble a new kind of egg. Some fine fancy eggs that no other cook cooks, like the eggs of the ruffle-necked Salamagooks. Salamagookses, say, they should be proud. They should be good. So I went out and found one as quick as I could. I don't know. Kind of looks like it. I don't know. And while I was lugging them back to the house, I happened to notice a tizzle-topped grouse in a tree down the street. And I knew from her looks that her egg and the egg of the Salamagooks ought to mix mighty well, ought to taste simply super, when scrambled together by Peter T. Hooper. So I took those eggs home and I frizzled them up, and I added some sugar, 2/3 of a cup, and a small pinch of pepper, and also a pound of horseradish sauce that was sitting around, and also some nuts. Then I tasted the stuff, and it tasted quite fine, but not quite fine enough. Where's Chaos Cakes? To make the best scramble that's ever been made, a cook has to hook the best eggs ever laid. So I drove to the country, quite rather far out, and I studied the birds that were flitting about. I looked with great care at the mop-noodled finch. I looked at a beagle-beaked, bald-headed Grinch. And also, this is before the Grinch was. And also I looked at a shade-roosting quail who was roosting right under a lassalack's tail. And I looked at a spritz and a flannel-winged jay, and but I just couldn't stop. I didn't. I kept right on my way, because they didn't have eggs. They weren't laying that day. Oh, this is the, here's the quail who was roosting under the lassalack's tail. This is a lassalack. And this is a Shay's roosting quail. Isn't he adorable? Look at him, cutie worry. He's just hiding under his tail. Then suddenly, boy, up that hill, a short space, birds were laying all over the place. Great, happy, gay families. With uncles and cousins, all laying the strictly fresh eggs by the dozens. Why, I'd have to scramble more super than super. Scrambled eggs super-de-duper-de-booper. Special deluxe a la Peter T. Hooper. Damn, I got some eggs, son. They're laying. Look at them all laying. They're laying all over the place. Boop, 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 boop. Just eggs dropping. Boop, boop, boop. This is a high-protein strain. I picked out the eggs in a most careful way. I only picked those that I knew were grade A. I only took eggs from the very best fowls, so I didn't take eggs from the twiddler owls, because I knew that the eggs of those fellows who twiddle taste sort of like dust from inside a bass fiddle. It's sad. They make sad eggs. Man. Awesome picture, though. This is epic shit. I went for the kind that were mellow and sweet. The world's sweetest eggs are the eggs of the queet, which is due to those very sweet trout which they eat. And those trout, well, they're sweet because they only eat wogs. Wogs, after all, are the world's sweetest frogs.
And the reason they're sweet whenever they munch is always the world's sweetest bees that they munch. And the reason no bees can be sweeter than these, they only eat blossoms off bezelnut trees. And these bezelnut blossoms are sweeter than sweet. That's why I nabbed several eggs from the queet. The circle of life. Circle of life. But I passed up the eggs of a bird called the strudel, who's sort of a stork, but with fur like a poodle. For they say that the eggs of this kind of stork are gooey like glue, and they stick to your fork. And the yolks of these eggs, I am told, taste like bleh, while the whites taste like very old bicycle grease. Oh, fleece. The eggs taste like fleece. Terribly sorry. This is the graphic degradation makes some of the words hard to read. Can be tricky. Ow. It's a cool picture. The places I hiked to the roads that I rambled to find the best eggs that have ever been scrambled. I hunted new birds along wild tangled trails, through gullies and gulches, down dingles and dales. I wriggled my way and I crawled at a creep through the forest of ferns that was 40 miles deep. And I mashed through the brush till I found a fine quigger, whose eggs were as big as a pinhead, no bigger. So, close there. It was close. We're still looking for the races in here. We came close right there. Dodged away. Are they, what's on the next page? Oh no. Then I went for the eggs of a long-legged quong. Now this quong, well, she's built just a little bit wrong. For her legs are so terribly, terribly long that she has to lay eggs 20 feet in the air. And they drop with a plop to the ground from up there. So unless you can catch them before the eggs crash, you haven't got eggs. You've got long-legger hash. Eggs! I'd collected 302, but I needed still more, and I suddenly knew that the job was too big for one fellow to do, so I telegraphed north to some friends near Fazul. Fazul? Yeah, Fazul. Which is 10 miles or so just beyond the North Pole, and they all of them jumped in their catamasside, which is sort of a boat made of sea leopard's hide, which they sailed out to sea to go looking for grice, which is sort of a bird which lays eggs on the ice, which they grabbed with a tool which is known as a switch, because those eggs are too cold to be touched without which. Is this racist Eskimos or something? Is this environmental dick stealing eggs? Okay, we'll find out, I guess. If it's a fuzzy Eskimo type dude, is that? And while over there, sorry, I can't. It's hard to keep a straight face. I know. I don't know either, man. And while they were sending those eggs, I got word of a bird that does something that's almost unheard of. It's hard to believe, but this bird called the pelf lays eggs that are 3 times as big as himself or herself. You know, we want to be, all inclusive here. As big as themselves. Sick sexes. How that pelf ever learned such a difficult trick, I never found out, but I found that egg quick. And I managed to get it down out of the nest, home to the kitchen, along with the rest. But I didn't stop then, because I knew of some ducks by the name of a single-file Zumsian Zucks, who stroll single file through the mountains of Zums quite oddly enough, with their eggs on their thumbs. And some fellows in Zums, whom I happen to know, just happened to capture 1,000 or so. And they wrapped up their eggs and they mailed them by air, marked special delivery. Handle with care. I needed more helpers, and so for assistance I called up a fellow named Ali, long distance. And Ali, as soon as he hung up the phone, picked up a small basket and started alone to climb the steep crags and the jags of Mount Struku to fetch me the egg of Mount Struku Cuckoo. And these Mount Struku Cuckoos are rather small gals. Is this it? Is Ali... Is this the depiction of Ali this way? This is the thing? But these Mount Struku Cuckoos have lots of big pals. They dived from the skies with wild cracking shrieks, and they jabbed at his legs, and they stabbed at his cheeks, and they're yammering, clamoring, hammering beaks. But Ali, brave Ali, he fought his way through, and he sent me that egg, as I knew he would do, for my scrambled eggs super de-duper de-booper, special deluxe, a la Peter T. Hooper. All right, well, so good job, buddy. In the meanwhile, of course, I was keeping real busy collecting the eggs of 3-eyelash Tizzy. They're quite hard to reach, so I rode on the top of a ham-ikashnim, ikashnam, ikashnop. It's a long name for the, like, one syllable for foot of neck length. Then I found out a great flock of southwest-facing cranes, and I guess they've got something that's wrong with their brains. For this kind of a crane, when she's guarding her nest, will always stand facing precisely southwest. So to get at these eggs wasn't hard in the least. I came from behind, from precisely northeast. Oh, he came at him from behind. Look, bend that knee. Bend that knee to get in there. Wiggle, wiggle. Uh-oh. And I captured the egg of the prickly gractus, who lays them up high in a prickly cactus. Then I went for some ziffs. They're exactly like zuffs, but the ziffs live on cliffs and the zuffs live on bluffs. Seeing how bluffs are exactly like cliffs, it's mighty hard telling the zuffs from the ziffs. But I know that the egg that I got from the bluffs, if it wasn't a ziffs from the cliffs, was a zuffs. Now I needed the egg of a moth-watching sneff, who's a bird who's so big she scares people to death. This awful big bird, well, the reason they name her the moth-watching sneff is 'cause that's how they tame her. She likes watching moths. Sort of quiets her mind. While she is watching, you sneak up behind, and you yank out her egg, so I got one, of course, with the help of some friends, and a very fast horse. Distract, attack. If you want to get eggs you can't buy at a store, you have to do things never thought of before. Right, to get at the egg of one very small dwarf, doth, we had to pry all of one mountaintop off. Damn, that's harsh. Like, here's the doff. It, like, just sitting here going like, oh, there's an egg. And they're like, excuse us. Coming in. Damn. Dude is like egg crazy. Then I heard of some birds who lay eggs, if you please, that taste like the air in the holes in Swiss cheese. And they live in big Zanzibar trees. So I ordered a tree full. The job was immense. And I needed those eggs
and said, "Hang the expense." Fuck that Zanzibar tree. God has given us all the plants and eggs to use. I still needed one more, and I saved it for last. The egg of the frightful bombastic aghast. And that bird is so mean, and that bird is so fast, that I had to escape on a Jill-Ika Jast, a fleet-footed beast who can run like a deer, but looks sort of different. You see him by ear. You steer him by ear. This is a Jill-Ika Jast. It's very fleet-footed. Better run, boy, better run, boy, better run. All through with the searching, all through with the looking. I had all I needed, and now for the cooking. I rushed to the kitchen's place, the place where I'd stack 'em. I rolled up my sleeves, I unpacked 'em and cracked 'em, and shucked 'em and chucked 'em in 99 pans. Then I mixed in some beans. I used 55 cans. Then I mixed in some ginger, 9 prunes and 3 figs, and parsley. Quite some parsley. Just 22 sprigs. And I added 6 cinnamon sticks and a clove, and my scramble was ready to go on the stove. It's not too bad. I mean, it's not a jelly. And you know how they tasted? Well, they tasted just like... Well, they tasted exactly just like scrambled eggs super de-duper-de-booper special deluxe a la Peter E. Hooper. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most problematic and valuable books on the market today, Something About Eggs by Dr. Seuss. And you have just been literaturized. Do you feel smarter? Huh? Ah. There we go. Something like this. So I guess we've reached that portion of the show where I ask you, the viewer, what direction you would like it to take. We can, for fun, we can read some of the other Dr. Seuss books that I acquired today with those books. Now that we're enlightened, we've built a bulwark of resistance to the racisms that we might encounter. You know, now that we're woke, now that we've done the work on ourselves, you know, we can maybe move forward and appreciate some of Dr. Seuss's less harmful works. We might also watch some animated Dr. Seuss, which could be fun. There are many beyond the few that you have seen. Some of them are very interesting. For example, we could go into some sneeches or something like that. Or we could drop into a movie of some sort that has absolutely nothing to do with Dr. Seuss. So let's do it this way, since the survey for the number of people watching is kind of silly. Put a 1 in the chat if you just want to like read the rest of the books that I got. 2 in the chat if you 2 is for if you want to watch some animated Dr. Seuss specials that are less common, and somewhat lost, or 3 if you're like, fuck it, let's watch some stupid movie. I'm going to give you a few moments to think about that. Make your vote if you want to, or just tell me. You could just tell me with words in the chat what you want to do. And I'm gonna take a leak, grab another beer, and be right back. My list looks so terrible. Clean that up a little bit. There, boom. Isn't that a pretty little white page right there? And I'll be right back after this quick biological break. This show is brought to you by Dinky Doo Pomade. That's Dinky Doo Pomade, the finest beaver extract pomade on the market today. Hand squeeze, just for your due. And also Coke. Put it up your nose. I do not endorse Coca-Cola products. They are not a sponsor. I'll be back in a minute. Do enjoy the lovely and enlightening harpsichord music, which is, of course, a sign of white colonialism. Looks like Greco is streaming, as per the usual. It's not like he's online like every day and has a job and makes money and stuff. I blame you, JP, for put those kids to work and see if they can find a deal. Like, you know, if they're out like at a library book sale or something. I suppose in Canada it's probably not. It's probably a different sort of situation. Like, people probably aren't paying that much attention to it. Only like the few people who keep up on bullshit American politics are gonna care. But yeah, I showed you some of the prices on Amazon at the top of the stream, or at least, you know, whether you heard me. Like, yeah, these books are running from like $600 to $2,000 as of yesterday. That's like better than a stock investment. If you happened to own a hard copy of one of these books before the news hit yesterday, the prices just went up like 5,000% in one day. I mean, a hard copy was still probably worth somewhere under $100 just on a daily basis, because they really don't print some of these older, rarer books anymore. But we just went through them, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to join the Reichstag. I'm done with the Fluzamahuzits and the Kalamazuzits. I don't want to inky debinky debunkits. Not in my countries. I try to keep my countries clean. With Moose Douche, that's right, Moose Douche. From the wilds of Canada comes the cleanest, freshest douche around. Stick it in your craw. I don't know, we're working on expanding the sponsorship for this program, and honestly, we haven't been able to get the most reputable sponsors for this program, basically because we have no market share. So so if you want to subscribe or anything, there's little buttons down there you can push. The Dinky Doo contract isn't cutting it, guys. I hate to say it. I mean, we had a good deal. I was getting 35%, you know, every time I mentioned Dinky Doo, you know. And then they sent me a letter saying, you know, due to fluctuations in the market, beaver extract pomade isn't as popular as it was 100 years ago, blah, 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 blah. We're going to have to withhold payment until future, blah, 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 blah. I'll tell you what I'll do. First I'll do this, because we are kind of back. We're back-ish. Look around and see if I can find some Dr. Seuss specials. I want to see the Hoover Bloob Highway. What do you guys say? You want to see the Hoover Bloob Highway? Just say yes, because it's going to happen. It's happening now. Just take it. Just sit back and let it happen. Let's see if we can find it on YouTube. That'd be easiest. Good. Top suggestion. Enjoy.
The Hoover Bloob Highway, in case you don't know, starts way up above and ends way down below. It starts far beyond where the astronauts go, and far, far beyond where the group rusters grow. The Hoover Bloob Highway gets steeper than steep, where the many moons sleep and the blue creepers bleak. Then far, far above, if you see what I mean, far above the beneath and betwixt the between, that's where Hoover Bloob works at the job that he's got. I'm really not sure if he likes it or not.
Shoo, shoo, off, off, off. Away with you. Kindly shove off. We're about to use the runway. Go on. Vamoose. I, of course, am Mr. Hoover Bloob.
Hi.
Dispatcher. Please. This is the place we dispatch them from. Down there is the place we dispatch them to. And this is how we go about it. Adjust the cadipulator. First, the carriage.
Yeah, it looks like a pram, but
Please. I hope you're quite comfortable. Now, we don't send them down unprepared like we used to. In these modern days, we brief them scientifically.
The big telescope, please. The big telescope, please.
Now, before we ship you down to Earth in your very special cart, we're going to be quite honest, and you'll listen if you're smart. I hope you can see clearly. A hole, please. There are so many places to send you that it's really only fair to give you some idea as to what goes on down there. And wherever you go, I want you to know that you're going to find some problems. For example,
You might live in this lovely palace in Bajanajistan, and you might think that that would make you a very lucky little man.
but very frankly, the attic is simply infested with tigers.
On the other hand, though, you could very, very possibly go to a most attractive smallish town called North Ninza Skrinzabo. Here the snow is crisp and clear. There are no tigers here to fear. But I'm sorry to inform you that you'd have to learn how to milk a walrus. suppose you were sent to the town of Gazer, where the beautiful sidewalks go every which where, and you live in this happy home high in the air, with your bedroom up here and your bathroom up there. And that's the way it is, bub. You're apt to get stuck. And the place that you live in is quite frankly a matter of luck. The hometown selection contraption, please.
Ain't that the truth?
Wherever the Flooble-Dooble stops, that's the place you'll go to.
We are delighted to be able to announce that this fortunate little fella has won the jackpot and the privilege of living in the town of West Wachacatella.
Congratulations.
I like the little flamenco guy.
As I said, congratulations. This is the future viewing contraption. Now, before we actually send you down, we must show you what is going to happen to you down there in that town. And, Bub, if you don't like it, if you have the slightest doubt, and you don't want to go, just tell us so, and your trip will be canceled out. It's a deal? Roll the reel.
This is your life in West Wachacatella.
You've got your work cut out, young fellow, inasmuch as you've got to learn to do things such as put on your socks. Now your shirt. Now your breeches. No scratching, no matter how it itches. Keep your fingers occupied with more important things. Scrub out the bathtub. Never leave rings. Learn to use your toothbrush. Learn to use your hairbrush. Learn to use your shoe brush. Tie a knot, what a knot. Take a look at what you've got. Answer the doorbell. Hang up your pajamas. Turn the television off. Turn the frizzolator on. Answer the doorbell. Socks. Shirt.
God damn it. Jerry, did you leave the frizzolator off again?
Hairbrush. Carry out the garbage can. Such an awkward little man.
I warned you, Bub. Things move pretty fast down there. And also, sometimes things move very slowly.
And you'll be there among the daisies beneath a magnificent bright blue sky. And you'll lie there so lazy, happy, hazy, doing nothing but watching the snails race by.
And here they come past the half-mile post. It's Creeping Katie in the lead, a nose ahead of Soggy Toast. And way back along the rail, what's the name of that there snail? Why, it's Leaping Luella, showing unexpected strength. It's Leaping Luella by 10 long lengths.
you sure you're quite comfortable? Well then, we will take up where your mother left off. If equilateral triangles meet with quadrilateral rhomboids, causing mathematical adenoids, I give you this little problem, bub.
Can you postulate, rectangulate, the conical coordinate of the parametric, heptatetric, rhomborebic, globothrebic, isoloidal, cosmic weight of the non-recurrent...
What? Wait.
Paranoidal diphthong.
What? Diphthong? What?
Beginning, Bob. Your head will really start spinning, Bob, when you take up theology. Biology, geology, theology, moonology, psychology, ideology, chronology, prunology, pharmacology, splatology, thisology, thatology, and jumpin' jolly, oh my golly gee.
Oh, the things you have to know.
The things you gotta know. The things you gotta know. History, you have to know your history. You'll have to know those dusty, musty jets. Emperors, kings, and presidents. You'll have to remember which one is who, and remember his birthday and the size of his shoe.
Remember Sir Oliver Oglethorpe? And dear old Ching Chong Toast?
And which queen of Crumlin had a...
Racist.
Who's that geezer? Julius Caesar?
Looks to me like Ebenezer.
No, that there is Ebenezer. This is Sir Frederick von Plunk Pleaser.
And this is Sir Alfred Fluther, Hilary Bellary Bland.
Oh my gracious goodness, but the things you gotta learn. You'll have to know why do cows chew their cuds, and why are fiddle disters always blowing suds. You'll have to learn the smell of the pipulated pinkweed, how it differs from the smell of the stipulated stinkweed. How tall are the pyramids, how deep is the river Nile, and how many teeth in a crocodile smile. And how many bones is a diplodocus? And how many bones is a Rhymphorhynchodiplodocus?
Will he want to go down there? How do you bet? Have you come to any decision as yet? You'd like to see a little more, maybe? Huh? I know the way you feel, bub. But cheer up, we made a deal, bub. You don't have to be a human, not at all, not at all. I agree with you, bub. It's a rough decision to make. Maybe you don't want to go down to Earth as a child. You have innumerable choices. There are unlimited possibilities. Just tell me what you wish you were, bub. Tell me the shape that you prefer, bub. It's no trouble to make you what you want. No trouble, bub, at all. Something like him. Or her. Or those. Or them. Or a tizzle-top tufted salubrian snipe. You can be one of them if you care for that type. However, on the other hand, though, here's the way you conceivably might like to go. This is our latest two-tone model of the always popular six-footed bottle. Still, on the other hand, though, there's the hammica, schlippica, schloppica, schlo. On the other hand, though, if you think that's too slow, there are more ways to go. You can be anything, bub, don't you know?
But on the other hand, other hand, still another and another and another hand, still another and another and another hand, on the other and the other and another hand, on the other hand, other hand, on the other hand, though.
Tough, isn't it? Making up your mind. You still considering maybe going to Earth as a human? Then let's take another look at what would happen if you went there. It won't be all bad. Some nice things happen down there.
It's fun to be a human when the sun is shining bright. It's fun to be a human when the fish begin to bite. It's fun to be a human when you're zipping and you're zooming, and slurping also makes it fun. Fun to be a human. And slurping also makes it fun. Fun to be a human.
I regret to have to inform you that human beings are apt to get sick.
Oh no.
When the trees are getting green, it's fun to be a breathing when the air is fresh and clean. It's fun to be a human when sweet daffodils are blooming. F-U-N, fun, fun to be a human.
Oh, I'm glad they explained that
Regret to have to inform you
they're just spelling fun.
an occasional tooth.
It's fun to be a human when you're showing off your dives. And when you're on vacation, it's so great to be alive.
I also regret to have to inform you your vacation has just ended.
No.
You have now reached a point in your education when it's time to think about your future.
No.
What do you want to be when you grow up? A soldier?
No, I don't want to be Andy.
A sailor? A politician?
Uh,
A tailor? Maybe
No.
you're cut out to be a musician.
maybe.
Let's see if you have any talent.
I want to be a rock star. Put me in the talent room.
Maybe you
He's got something.
the piano.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and...
Oh, good heavens! You're impossible! Let's see if he has any mechanical ability.
What do you do when a snorkel goes slump and its front part starts sagging and so does its rump and it falls apart with a ghastly gazump? What do you do when the snorkel goes slump?
It's really quite simple to put it together. The gicular snurkle fits into the gourd. The thrombinbulocket fits into the sprocket, and the scrotular glocket fits into the
None of those things are things.
the sprungated what's this? Releasing the pressurized. What have we got this?
Well, maybe you're not mechanically inclined. How would you like to be a famous Tweedlebeetle statistician? You could be the world's greatest authority on Tweedlebeetle ballistics if you...
Oh no.
Beetles and their
Battling
ballistic
Tweedlebeetles.
characteristics. Now, when Tweedle Beetles fight, it's called a Tweedle Beetle battle. And when they battle in a puddle, it's a Tweedle Beetle puddle battle. And when Tweedle Beetles battle with paddles in a puddle, they call it a Tweedle Beetle puddle paddle battle. And when beetles battle beetles in a puddle paddle battle, and the beetle battles puddle is a puddle in a bottle, they call this a Tweedle Beetle bottle puddle paddle battle muddle. And when beetles find these battles in a bottle with their paddles, and the bottles on a poodle, and the poodles eat noodles, they call this a muddle puddle tweedle poodle beetle noodle bottle paddle battle. And stop it! Stop it! I can't stand it!
I'm digging it. Keep going.
He's a vastly cruddy bloody bore. You're much too nice a fella. I'm not going to send you there. Now what are you trying to say? I guess you're right. I sort of broke a rule. I am supposed to be neutral. My apologies, Bub. But I must perform the job for which I'm paid. You'll just have to see the rest of the picture, I'm afraid.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. We've got a pretty hopeless case here.
Maybe it would help if we ask him a few very simple questions.
His pupil was missing for a minute.
Just check them as they go. All you have to do, young man, is answer yes or no.
No problem.
Hydroponics, answer yes or
Yes.
Are you any good at microgonics?
answer yes or no.
Yes.
Are you religious?
Sort of. No.
Do you have bad dreams?
Yes. Yes.
Does your belly ever rumble?
Yes.
If you hope to win, keep up your chin and act.
So what? If you answer no, you're lying, right?
Oh, you are so slow.
Would you marry a quipper quacks?
Answer
I
yes.
don't know. What's the quick?
Does your uncle snore?
Are these answers legally binding?
If you want to succeed, speed up your speed and answer yes or no. Are you, will you, won't you?
Hey, please use the number 2 pencil.
Don't you answer yes or no? Are you, will you, won't you? Answer yes or no. Will you, won't you, do you, don't you? Answer yes or no.
And millions more questions you'll have to try to answer in the biggest question mark factory in the universe. Well, that's the situation downstairs on the Earth. And it's time for you to vote, Bub. Do you or don't you want to go there? Answer yes or no. Come on, cooperate. You're holding up the entire production line. Do you or don't you? Do you or don't
You don't you? Do you don't you?
He votes in the affirmative.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Here comes a good one.
Good luck, Bub. Keep down the skyway.
Skittling down the skyway.
On the Hooper Blue Highway.
Oh, wow, man. The Hooper Bloob is so meta.
You just joined the membership. Let's give the kid a cheer.
Happy birthday!
You're a human. Have a busy, fascinating time.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what else to say about that. We have actually several more of these that I want to watch, so I'm going to watch them. You are welcome to stick around. If you're having fun, hey, let me know with a sound alert, or I don't know, toss up a rubber chicken in the chat. It'll encourage me to make more emotes. I've been kind of busy repotting plants. Something I'm really This is okay.
Mr. Master over here. Smooth ass moves. Blurp. Fate. Slip. Blurp.
Is that as loud as this gets? Not at all.
Nice. Feel sorry for the people who have left because they're missing out on all the good stuff.
The Cat in the Hat, that's me, presents Dr. Seuss on the Loose. A three-decker consisting of 1, the Sneetches, 2, the Zacks, 3, green eggs and ham.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, at the edge of each ocean, you'll always find...
There you go. Spoof.
Glorious, glorious beaches. And when I'm
Look at that sword.
on peacefulish beaches, I frequently find myself thinking of
Sneetches.
Sneak, did you say Sneetches? Yes.
No, I said Snoochie Booches.
C-H-E-S, Sneetches. O-S-N-W-T-C-H-E-S, Sneetches.
Now, the star-bellied Sneetches had bellies with stars. But the plain-bellied Sneetches had none upon theirs. No stars on their bellies. No stars upon theirs. Those stars weren't so big. They were really quite small. You would think such a thing wouldn't matter at all. But because they had stars, all the star-bellied Sneetches would brag.
We're the best kind of Sneetch on the beaches.
With their snoots in the air, they would sniff and they'd snort. They'd have nothing to do with a plain belly sort.
Ronald, remember, when you are out walking, you walk past a Sneetch of that type without talking. Keep your snoot in the air and remember to snort. We have no truck whatever with the plain-bellied sort.
When the star-bellied children went out to play ball, could a plain belly get in the game? Not at all. You only could play if your bellies had stars, and the plain belly children had none upon theirs.
Ow!
Your belly's got no stars.
Boo.
Twink, twink, twinkle, twinkle, lovely little star.
Twink, twink, twinkle, twinkle, stupid little star.
If there's one upon your tummy, that's just yummy, you're my chummy.
If there isn't, you're a crummy, slummy, gummy, bummy, dummy. That applies
Ew.
to Daddy and your mommy. Twink, twink, twinkle, twinkle, lovely little star.
Mom and Dad too. Damn.
Twinkle, twinkle, stupid little star.
When the star-belly Sneetches had Frankfurter roasts, or picnics, or parties,
Talk about my mama.
toasts, they never invited the plain-belly Sneetches. They left them out cold in the dark of the beaches.
From the heights of Mooba Mooba to the gullies of Gazoo, there is nobody else who has one. We're the favorite few who do. And so a toast, raise your marshmallow stick. A toast, raise your good fellow stick. And toast the glorious gimmick that makes us what we are. Sound off and let the welkin ring in praise of our exclusive thing. A toast, raise your marshmallow stick. A toast, raise your good fellow stick. A toast to your belly star.
They kept them.
Damn.
Never let them come near. That's how they treated them year after year.
Ooh.
They
It's
got
just
snogged.
a kid.
Their bottoms got booted, while the star-bellied sneetches all taunted and hooted.
They just are not suited. No stars upon theirs.
Boo.
Then one day, it seems, while the plain-bellied sneetches were moping and doping alone on the beaches, just sitting there, wishing their bellies had stars, a stranger approached in the strangest of cars.
My friends, I have seen they've been treating you mean. My name is Sylvester McMonkey McBean. I know precisely why you're so unhappy, and that I can fix. I'm the fix-it-up chappie.
Carpetbagger? I'm not convinced by this guy. He looks shady. Nobody... Nobody with good intentions is wearing a bowler. If you're wearing a bowler, you already know what you're doing when you went out.
My prices are low, and I work with great speed, and my work is 100% guaranteed. By my new patent process of polar potoxis of the inner subnuclear noosebomb nogoxis, you'll get a star like the star-bellied sneetch for the mere paltry payment of $3 each.
A star? Here?
$3? Is it like an iPhone?
And the first to go through gets the trip at half fare. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, iPhones are so last week. What you really need is an iWatch. That's the only way to be weak.
It works!
Yeah! It works! It works!
Them over there, they got stars upon theirs. And we over here, we got stars upon ours. We got 'em all, so we got 'em too. For every little bitty bit as goody good as you. Now we're socially acceptable at Marshmallow Toast. You'll have to send us invitations to your Frankfurter roast. Stars, stars, bless our lucky stars. All the sneetches on the beaches now got stars upon theirs.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are faced with a most awkward dilemma. We're the true star-bellies. We had them first. We're still the best sneetches, and they're still the worst.
Yeah!
But how are we going to prove it? Which is which? I can't tell us apart.
Let me through. Excuse me. Step aside, please. Thank you. You don't know me, my friends, but calm down if you can. I'm here to help the original Starbelly clan. Those upstarts, it's true, now have stars just like you. But follow me, my friends, and you know what I'll do? I'll make you again the best sneetches on the beaches. And all it will cost you is $10 eaches. Belly stars, my dear friends, are no longer in style, and I'll have yours off in a very short while in my wondrous machine which eradicates stars. Then you won't look like sneetches who have them on theirs.
Eradicates these?
Eradicates these with the greatest of ease, provided you pay your $10, if you please.
Here's 10 for the boy and 10 for me.
Thank you.
Oh, no. Do they get conditioner? Do they get beard wax? Or...
How original!
How distinctive!
How exclusive!
They're like, oh, I don't know, we got stars and they don't.
Who is who, and there isn't a doubt. The best kind of sneeches are sneeches without the old-fashioned custom of walking about. With stars on your belly is O-U-T, out. Abdominal stars we cannot abide. Abdominal stars are abominable. Abdominal, abominable. Abdominal stars are abominable. O-U-T, out. O-U-T, out. That old status symbol is O-U-T, out.
Then, of course, those with stars all got frightfully mad. To be wearing a star now was frightfully bad. Then, of course, old Sylvester McMonkey McBean invited them into his star-off machine.
Thank you. Thank you.
Gosh darn it! This is terrible.
From then on, as you probably guessed, things really got into a...
I'm getting my star back.
All the rest of that day, on those wild, screaming beaches, the fix-it-up chappie kept fixing up sneeches. Off again, in again, out again. Through the machines, they raced round and about again, changing their stars every minute or two. They kept paying money. They kept running through until neither the plane or the starbellies knew whether this one was that one, or that one was this one, or which one was what one, or what one was who. Then, when every last cent of them... The fix-it-up chap packed up, and he went.
Later. Skate, skate, skidoo.
And he laughed as he drove his car up the beach.
They never will learn. No, you can't teach a sneech.
But McBean was quite wrong. I am happy to say that the sneeches got really quite smart on that day. That day they decided that sneeches are sneeches, and no kind of sneech is the best on the beaches.
Nobody knew who the hell they were anymore.
The sneeches forgot about stars, and whether they had one or not upon theirs.
Yay.
Raise your marshmallow stick.
So,
Raise your good fellow stick.
when they expelled capitalism, they got a perfect communist society. Everyone is equal.
So what do your star-spangled sing?
In an anarcho-stardust commune.
Raise your marshmallow stick. A toast. Raise your good fellow stick. And poo, poo, poo to your belly star.
I wonder what their... Apparently their primary source of subsistence is marshmallows.
Oh, beyond the last mountain, the very last mountain, beyond the last Zanica tree, beyond the last woomph bush, the very last woomph bush, there is a vacuous, vacant prairie, the prairie of Prax, and the tale of the Zacks.
One day, making tracks in the prairie of Prax, came a north-going Zax, a north-going Zax, and a south-going Zax, a north-going Zax, and a south-going Zax. And it happened that both of them came to a place where they bumped. There they stood, foot to foot, face
Snap. This is how all those
Look here now.
World Star Hip Hop videos.
Hey, say, you are blocking my path. You are right in my way. I'm a north-going Zax, and I always go north. Get out of my way now and let me go forth. Who's in whose way? Snapped the south-going Zax. I always go south, making south-going tracks. So you're in my way, and I ask you to move and let me go south in my south-going groove. Then the north-going Zack said with north-going pride, I never have taken a step to one side, and I'll prove to you that I won't change my ways if I have to keep standing here 59 days. And I'll prove to you, yelled the south-going Zacks, that I can stand here in the prairie of Prax for 59 years. For I live by a rule that I learned as a boy back in south-going school. Never budge, that's my rule. Never budge in the least, not an inch to the west, not an inch to the east. I'll stay here not budging, I can and I will, if it makes you and me and the whole world stand still. Well, of course, the world didn't stand still. The world grew. In a couple of years, the new highway came through, and they built it right over those two stubborn Zacks and left them there, standing unbudged in their tracks.
Well, at least they didn't, I don't know, kill them.
Frequently think every now and then of the glorious fruit of the noble hen.
Could have, like, moved him a few feet.
E-double-G-S eggs. My knowledge of...
Sacks are pretty stubborn, though.
I've eaten them boiled, I've eaten them fried, poached and shirred and deviled and scrambled, omelets, schmommelets, coddled and frambled. I've eaten them beaten and swizzled and swazzled, frizzled, gedizzled, bamboozled and fuzzled. I know every way that an egg can be guzzled. And thinking of eggs reminds me of Sam, whose favorite dish is green eggs and ham.
I am Sam.
Hi, Sam.
Sam I am. That's Sam I am. That's Sam I am. I do not like that Sam I am.
Why not?
Do you like green eggs and ham? I do not like them, Sam I am. I do not like green eggs and ham.
He does not like them, Sam I am. He doesn't like.
Would you like them here? Or there? I would not like them here. Or there. I would not like them anywhere. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I am.
He doesn't like green eggs and ham. He doesn't like them.
Would you like them in a house? Would you like them with a mouse? I would not like them in a house. I would not like them with a mouse. I would not like them here or there. I would not like them anywhere.
Green eggs and ham. He doesn't like green eggs and ham. He doesn't like them. He doesn't like green eggs and ham.
Would you eat them in a box? Would you eat them with a fox? No, not in a box, not with a fox.
Would that be enticing? Would that be like...
Not in a house, not with a mouse. I would not eat them here or there. I would not eat them anywhere. Yuck. I would not eat green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I am. Would you, could you, in a car? Eat them, here they are. I would not, could not in a car. You may like them, you will see. You may like them in a tree.
I would not, could not in a tree, not in a car. Now let me be.
Not the train.
Not in a box, not with a fox, not in a house, not with a mouse. I would not like them here or there. I would not like them anywhere. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them.
Try them.
Sam, oh Sam, oh Sam, I am. He doesn't
want to be like, do you like bat? Do you like bat? Would you got it? Have you tried it? How do you know you don't like bat?
anywhere.
Could you? Would you? On a train?
No, not on a train, not in a tree, not in a car. Sam, let me be. Not in a box, not with a fox. Not with a mouse, not in a house. Not here or there, not anywhere.
In the dark? Here in the dark? Would you? Could you? In the dark?
Ooh, I would not, could not in the dark.
Hello. In the rain with the.
Could you? In the rain?
The train in rain space, plainly in the
train, not in a car, not in a tree. I would not like them, Sam, you see.
Would you? Could you? With a goat?
I would not, could not with a goat. I will not eat them here or there. I would not eat them anywhere.
Would you? Could you? On a boat?
I would not on a boat. I will not with a goat. Not in the rain, not on a train.
You do not like them, so you say. Try them, and you may. Try them, and you may, I say.
Sam, if you will let me be, I will try them, and you will see.
Running away is worse than actually just eating it.
Ooh.
Oh, really good.
I like green eggs and ham. I do. I like them, Sam, I am.
Why does it matter?
In a boat, and I will eat them with a goat, and I will eat them in the rain, and in the dark, and on a train, and in a car, and in a tree. They are so good, you see. So I will eat them in a box.
Yes. Don't be afraid to broaden your horizons, kids. I guess that's the moral of that story.
We will eat them in a box.
Woo!
We will eat them with a fox.
And he will
Hello, furries.
house, and he will eat them with a mouse, and he will eat them here or there. Say he will eat them anywhere.
Wow, that is some brilliant.
I do so like green eggs and ham.
Music.
Thank you, Sam, I am.
Ski pop doodle lap boo. Music makes you feel like, oh, Alan Sherman. You guys know who Alan Sherman is? All right. Well, we're not gonna go down a Alan Sherman sidetrack alley right now. I can do an 8-hour stream on Alan Sherman. Lenny Bruce might be a good one to do, just like maybe on his birthday or something. Do like an all Lenny Bruce. That motherfucker told it like it is. In a time when you weren't allowed to tell it like it is, almost like now. Oh, sorry. I already had the other thing pulled up over here. Just slide it over here. Now this might be a little bit I don't know, asynchronous because the season or whatever. But this is a rare one that I know a lot of people have not seen. It's Halloween is Grinch Night from 1976 or something. What have we got here? October 28th, 1977 was when it dropped. I remember when it dropped because I was like, this is dank. I mean, I was very young, but I remember it being dank before that was a word. Dank was like your dad's socks after a hard day's work, you know.
It was a mighty gorgeous sunset. It was truly a beautiful sight. All the friendly small housetops of Whoville glowing bright in the changing light. All the Whos who lived here in Whoville paused and smiled as the sun sank down and the purple shadow of Mount Crumpet crept across the farmlands beyond the town. It was a mighty peaceful sunset until old Josiah happened to sniff. And he whispered to his wife, "Mariah, will you also take a whiff?" And Josiah and Mariah double sniffed. And said,
I wonder if...
But they really didn't wonder. They knew it was terribly true. They knew that the sour, sweet wind was coming back, and what the sour, sweet wind would do.
Inside, children.
I suggest we stay indoors tonight. I suggest we lock ourselves in tight. Tonight, you know, won't go quite right. You can tell by the smell of the wind. It sounds like another one's coming. Another Grinch night might commence. I wouldn't go out on a night like this for $1.50.
Always starts when that sour, sweet wind begins a-howlin'. sour sweet wind across the tree stumps on the wrong side of Punker's Pond. Then that wind wakes up the Gree-Grumps from their sleep inside the tree stumps, and all the Gree-Grumps start a-growling. And that growling and that howling runkles and grunkles up the pond. And that's why I'm suggesting to all you ladies, kids, and gents, I wouldn't go out on a night like this for $2.50. 'Cause when old Punker's Pond gets runkled by that howling and that growling, that always disturbs the Hackencracks. And the Hackencracks start a-yowling. And the yowling of the Hackencracks, plus that runkling, drunkling, howling, growling, always irritates the Grinch. And then that Grinch starts in a-prowling. So I suggest we stay indoors tonight. Our problems are immense. I wouldn't go out on Grinch night for $6.60.
It's a wonderful night for eyebrows. Max? Oh, where is he? Max! It's a wonderful night for eyebrows. It's a wonderful night for teeth. It's a wonderful night for Grinch night. Their troubles will now commence. Oh, I wouldn't stay home on a night like this for $60.60. Max, go bring the paraphernalia wagon. While Max was obeying his master's command in the cave on Mount Trumpet's bleak peak, the sweet, sour wind swazzled over the land. And in the home of Josiah and his good wife Mariah, they just stood there, and no one could speak. Until finally Euchariah said,
Grandpa Josiah?
and Grandpa Josiah said, Yes, Euchariah? And Euchariah said,
Grandpa, we've stood and we've stood, and stooding just stooding produces no good. The least we could do is find out without doubt whether or not the Grinch is coming out. And so I suggest we don't stood here like sticks. Call the Grinch Alarm Center. Dial area code 519006.
Excellent suggestion, Euchariah. Area code 519006. Line's busy. Very busy. Ah, here he is.
This is not a recording. This is me in person. Your Grinch Alarm Warden, Sergeant Samuel S. McPherson. It is my duty to inform you if conditions improve or if they worsen. I have infiltrated his territory, keeping sharp eyes upon this schnook. And I'm focusing my focusella to take still another look. Conditions are worsen.
Hurry up, Max. I'm raring to go.
I'm gonna be the guest of honor and exclusive Grinch Night Ball. Gonna be the only dancer in the Whoville Town Hall. I might enter the ball quite small, or I might go in quite tall. But I assure you nobody, but nobody, is gonna dance with me at all when I enter front and center at the exclusive Grinch Night Ball.
Ha-ha! Ready? Giddy up, Maxie!
Attention, attention all who's. This is Sergeant McPherson, and conditions, I'm afraid, are now worser than worsen.
many times have I said and said? How many times have I said in my head, what am I doing here? Why am I the slave of this grinchy old crock? And I say how I wish I could turn back the clock and have the fine future I had once before, and again be an innocent puppy once more.
In your puppy house, Betty, with sweet Auntie Woofy Woofoon, feeding you hominy grits with a big silver spoon?
What am I doing here? Doesn't matter much how, but my dear old Auntie Woofy, wouldn't I fear very much care for me now?
As you can see by the lights flashing on this index, that's the Zinheimer Disaster and Devastation Rate of Spread Calculating Index. I am recording the intensities and immensities of the Grinch's current antisocial activities. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, the Grinch is working up quite a score. And unless I am misreading, I think it's going to soar up even more.
You know something, Grandpa Josiah?
Do I know what, Euchariah?
You know, sir, this looks a lot better without my glasses.
You put your glasses back on and face the facts, Euchariah.
As the Grinch creaks ever closer to your little front yard gates, he's engaged in Grinchy practices that every who abominates. He defoliates, depreciates, deflating all the things he hates, and frequently expectorates. Oh, the X, he activates.
Activates.
He blastergates.
And while all of Whoville sits and waits,
I bet you didn't know that the Grinch like really got off on Halloween.
Little flowers.
I missed one.
This thing that I gathered from about the Grinch.
Grandpa Josiah.
Shh, Euchariah.
Is that he's not just like some green dude who menaced Whoville and took away their presents and stuff. He's an actual like archetype of just grumpiness and grinchiness. He persisted like in all regions throughout space and time over every holiday.
Gall darn Bricklebush! I got brickles in my britches.
Phew, that was a mighty tight pinch, but the Wuzzy Woozoo has eluded the Grinch. He's safe inside a bricklebush.
You know something, Grandpa Josiah?
Do I know what, Euchariah?
I gotta go to the euphemism.
The euphemism? No one goes to the euphemism on a night like this.
No.
Euchariah!
Oh, I would.
I suggest we stay indoors tonight. Our problems are immense. I wouldn't go out on a night like this for $66,600,000 and an extra 66 cents.
It gets more expensive every time they sing the song. It's almost a bit. Euchariah! Oh my God. I remember this like when I was a kid. I was like, oh dude, his dad is so sad, he's looking for him.
Growling, he is wandering up Mount Crumpet in the sour sweet Grinch night way.
Wait. Ukariah! Mom and Dad miss you! Wait.
Grumps are the hack and cracks are yowling, and the gree grumps are a growling. He is wandering up Mount Crumpet in the
I
sun.
just love the wildlife, and I think those are critters from the Lorax, if I'm not mistaken.
No one comes home through the wind. No one comes home through the growling. He is lost amongst the yowling, lost forever in the darkness of the sour, sweet Grinch night wind.
Darn these brickles anyway. I'll be sore for a month.
Where is that euphemism? Huh? Oh, a woozoo. Oh, a doggy. Nice doggy. Poor lost doggy. I'm gonna take you home with me. If I ever find it again.
Brickleize me, will they? I'll brickleize.
Oh wait, is the Grinch a euphemism?
Who are you?
Ukariah who, sir?
You're a rather small who, aren't you?
Well, I do the best I can, sir. Are you really the Grinch?
Am I the Grinch?
Sorry, sir. I have a slight astigmatism, an optical condition in which parallel rays of light from an external source converge or diverge unequally in different meridians. You know, sir, I like you much better with my glasses off.
You put your glasses back on and face the facts. Am I the Grinch? I'll show him. Unka potty papa, unka potty unka lunka, ibzin troika, foldimaldo pam tusk. Am I the Grinch? Out of my way, small who. I got bigger things to do than to waste my time with you on Grinch night. Achtung! Giddy up, Maxie!
Achtung! Whoa.
So with the sweet sour wind still a howling. Now the
Get a load of this guy.
watched him go clunkering, skunkering, skunker-punkering toward the helpless town below. And he thought about Josiah, Mariah, Obadiah, and Matthiah. He would have to save them somehow. He would have to save the town. He would simply somehow have to stop that Grinch from getting down. And suddenly Ukariah knew precisely what he had to do. Stall for time. And what does the rather small who want this time?
Will you please scare me some more, sir? I sort of like it.
Look, kid, I gave you the $2 treatment. You're not worth a first-class Grinching. Am I the Grinch? Ukariah! Ukariah! Where are you? Okay, you asked for it. Quit fuddling with your glasses. Put those glasses on and get up here.
Yes, sir.
on. Come on. Closer, Euchariah.
Yikes.
Now closer. Closer.
Don't follow the main Mr. Grinch, Laban.
Courage he had never known till then. Euchariah, who, with a courage beyond the courage of most men, with the sour sweet wind a-howlin', stood before the gruesome Grinch and said,
To your worst, bring on your spooks. Shoot the worms, I will not flinch.
Oh?
Grinch is gonna get ya, Grinch is gonna get ya, Mitch and Billy for a laugh. Yeah. Euchariah, Euchariah, Grinch is gonna get ya, Mitch is gonna get ya, Mitch is gonna get ya, Grinch is gonna get ya, Mitch and Billy for a laugh. Gonna get ya, Mitch and Billy for a laugh.
So the scary thing about this, it's like special that like I saw once when I was a wee little kid, that stuck with me forever, was kind of how, not kind of, it was the fact that Euchariah was like lost and like kidnapped in the wilderness and trapped in like this Grinch world of like endless terror, and didn't know if the Grinch would ever let him out or if he would ever see his family again. Being mocked constantly by horrific visions. I mean, my God, it's terrifying. It's like, it's not like, oh man, it was Old Man Chambers the whole time, and I would have gotten away with it too. No, it's to Grinch. He's like some kind of extra dimensional being or something.
Enjoying yourself? Take a little walk.
No, I wouldn't step here. And I wouldn't step there. I would only step round with the greatest of care. And it's hopeless to try to escape through the air. It's prime time to SEUSS. We are every which way. Oh, you can't turn your back. And you can't turn your face. Without being some member of the unhuman race. We're a grisly, ghastly disgrace. Yes, it's prime time to SEUSS. We're all over the place.
Enjoying yourself?
Yes. Okay. Oh my gosh. I know. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I want to go home. I want to go home. Oh, this is too weird.
Mr. Grinch?
What?
Well, sir, as I knew it would, sir, the sour sweet wind is dying down. No wind ever blows forever.
So what?
Well, sir, according to all available statistics, when the sour sweet wind stops howling, that always stops the gree-grumps growling.
Yeah, I know.
And when the gree-grumps stop their growling, Punker's Pond stops runkling. And when Punker's Pond stops runkling, that always stops the hackin' cracks from yowling. And when the hackin' cracks stop yowling, you know what that stops. That always stops the Grinch from prowling.
It's just getting good, too.
Well, I'll be Grinched.
Well, I'll be Grinched.
No, I will be Grinched.
Come on, Max, turn this wagon around.
Later.
Attention! Attention all hooves.
Max is outie.
Reporting to you once more in person. And I can report that I never had thought that I'd ever report. A report of this sort.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure gonna miss that Grinch night ball. But that wind will be coming back someday. I'll be coming back someday.
Ew, no!
What an unusual way to come back from the euphemism.
I love it. It's called the euphemism.
All the Greek growling's growled itself away. Gone is the Grinch up the mountain far away. Hey, gone is the Grinch, that Grinch has gone away. Sing hallelujah, wind has gone away. Sing hallelujah, sing tra-la-booty-ay.
Boy.
Up the mountain.
We follow that up, eh?
Hallelujah, Grinch has gone away.
This was directed by directed by Ralph Bakshi in 1989, produced by Bakshi Animation. If you've been around long enough, you know what fans of Ralph Bakshi we are around here. Theodore Geisel.
On the last day of summer, 10 hours before fall, my grandfather took me out to the wall. For a while we stood silent, and finally he said, with a very sad shake of his very old head,
As you know, on this side of the wall, we are Ukes. On the far other side of this wall live the Zooks. And the things that you've heard about Zooks are all true. That terribly horrible thing that they do. And in every Zook house and in every Zook town, every Zook eats his bread with the butter side down.
Butter, butter, butter bright. Every morning, noon, and night. Spread your bread and spread it right. Pat, pat, smear, smear. Pat, pat, smear, smear. Pat, pat, butter side down.
But we Ukes, when we eat, when we breakfast or sup,
Mercy!
Right, with the butter side up.
That's right.
Because of course you remember our bread spreading rule that you learned as a lad back in bread spreading school.
On my honor as a Uke youth, I do solemnly swear to spread up on top here and never down there.
On my honor as a Uke youth, I do solemnly swear to spread up on top here and never down there.
That's the true, honest way. And all honest folks know that you can't trust a Zook who spreads bread down below.
No, don't spread me there. This is my no-no square.
Kinks in his soul. That's why, as a young man, I made watching my goal. Watching Zooks for the Zook watching Border Patrol. With a song in my heart and a spring in my knee, with a glint in my eye and a hop, 2, 3, I strided with pride along that wall, and I watched those Zookers, one and all. And if they got fresh, I just gave them a twitch with my tough, tufted, prickly snickberry switch. For a while, that worked fine. All the Zooks stayed away, and our country was safe. Then, one terrible day, a very rude Zook by the name of Vanitch snuck up and slingshotted my snickberry switch.
Oh my God! And then left. Left at me they did.
Our side, butter side down.
But butter side down is insane, don't you see?
Why, those dirty upside-down butterers. They can't do that to us. Why, I never saw anything so aggressively affrontable. It's worse than that. It's acrimonious.
Acrimonious? Good Lord.
And they get impossibler and impossibler and impossibler every day. That's me. They get too big for their britches.
With a broken off switch, with my head hung in shame, to the chief Ukaroo in great sorrow I came. But our leader just smiled. He said, "Dear boy,
You're not to blame. You simply have suffered a minor defeat, 'cause your snickberry switch is a bit obsolete. Their slingshot's more modern. What we need to get is a weapon that's even more moderner yet. So I've ordered the boys in the back room to figure how to build you some such super-booper sling jigger."
Hmm. Thanks. For some reason, the scientists are ballerinas. That's...
With my triple sling jigger, I sure felt much bigger. I marched to the wall with my triple sling jigger. I marched to the wall with great vim and great vigor. Right up to Van Itch with my hand on the trigger. I'll have no more nonsense, I said with a frown. From Zooks who eat bread with the butter side down. Van Itch looked quite sickly. He ran off quite quickly. I'm unhappy to say he came back the next day.
Shoot if you must with your triple sling jigger. But I also now have my hand on a trigger. My defensive weapon, the jigger rock snatch 'em. We'll fling 'em right back just as fast as we catch 'em. We'll take no more nonsense. We'll take no more gup from you ukes who eat bread with the butter side up.
Stymied. Thwarted. Mission aborted. I have failed, sir, I sobbed as I made my report to the chief Ukaroo in the headquarters fort.
Not at all, my dear boy. You did fine, my dear boy. But a slingshot, dear me, is an old-fashioned toy. All we need is a more modern kind of a gun. My boys in the back room have already begun to think up a walloping whiz-zinger of one.
We'll show them what Ukes can do.
They thought up a great one. They certainly did. They thought up a gun called the Kickapoo Kid, which they loaded with powerful Poo-a-Doo powder and axe eggs and bees' legs and dried fried clam chowder. And they carefully trained a real smart dog named Daniel to serve as our country's first gun-toting spaniel. Then Daniel, the Kickapoo Spaniel, and I marched back toward the wall with our heads held up high.
It's time that we bop them.
Those monsters that dwell
on the other side of the wall.
They're fluky and freaky.
They're cookie and sneaky. They're rude and they're cruel.
They're frightfully lewd.
On the other side of the wall.
It's time that we bashed them.
My dear, that's...
They're ugly, unnatural.
Unkempt and
They're weird, they're suspicious.
Obnoxious, atrocious.
They're rotten, malicious.
They're gauche and ferocious.
Repugnant, repulsive they are.
We're refined. They're cruel and nutty. None of them are.
All the things that they do.
What the fuck they think?
I never have met one.
What I hear today stinks.
On the
other side, that other side of the wall.
Ready?
Ready?
Aim.
The boys in my back room have rendered it neuter with this.
Damn, son.
Boom blitz. It shoots high explosives.
This is heavy metal.
Stone pits, and will put your dumb Kickapoo Kid on the fritz.
Poor Daniel and I were scared out of our wits. Once again by the Zooks, I was bested and beat. Once again, I limped home from the wall in defeat. I was losing my gumption, losing my will, when the right side up song girls marched over the hill.
Never give up, never tremble or flutter, never sag, never drag, never stumble or stutter. Believe in yourself and the bread
Forget what has happened, my boy. We have voted to make you a general. You've been promoted. Your pretty new uniform's ready. Get in it. Next time when you go out to battle, you'll win it. The boys in the back room have figured out how. Just wait till you see what they've puttered up now. To clobber those Zooks in their land of bad butter, we have builded a thing called the Utterly Sputter. It's a plane that's so modern and frightfully new, even we don't quite know all the things it can do. But the main thing it does is to sprinkle blue goo all over the Zooks.
You.
Happy trip. Toodaloo.
Just you.
We spread our bread the way we ought. We spread the way our mothers taught. Fought the wars that must be fought. Uke-a-loo-ya. When we will and when we must, our hearts are true. Our cause is just. Our bread is pure from crust to crust. Uke-a-loo-ya. Spreading rightly makes us free. Upwards, ukes and euchary. Spreading to eternity. Uke-a-loo-ya.
Dibbity-doo. Bow. It's just so obscure. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, I wonder if we've been thinking heavily about how we use our butter and the consequences of those decisions. Are you going to smear that butter
Vanish.
other side down?
Yeah, yeah. How do you like my plane? Forget it, old fellow. You're stymied again.
Buster, that was a pretty sour flight that you flew. And the chief Eukaroo? Well, he's looking for you.
The old finger coming through the doorway. Come here, loser.
most mighty weapon. You take a mess of mookaroo and you twaddle it, and you waddle it a bit. That's what you do. Now this sly, unstable substance, dug from deep beneath the land, contains primeval powers that we scarcely understand. And when it starts to dip and bubble, you compress it in the scrubs that precipitates the plugins and activates the glocks. And then you squeeze it till it's squeezing, then you squeeze it even tighter, 'cause the tighter that it's squeezing makes its mighty might more mighter.
Thanks.
And it's just a bloody miracle you've got when you are through. You got a little itsy big boy, Boomeroo. The throbbing, clobbing gumdrop that you're holding in your hand will blow those blasted zooks away to Never Never Land.
There you go, buddy. Sock it to him.
You just run to the wall like a nice little man. Drop this bomb on the Zooks just as fast as you can. I have ordered all Ukes to stay safe underground while the bitsy big boy Boomeroo is around.
That's when Grandfather found me. He grabbed me. He said,
You should be down that hole, and you're up here instead. But perhaps this is all for the better somehow. You will see me make history, right here and right now. You will see your old Gramp put an end to them all. Put an end to all those Zooks who live over the wall. Put an end to the every last village and town of those fiends who eat bread with the butter side down.
I mean, seriously, butter side down. Like, there's no excuse.
Chap, have a message for you.
Oh no, they got one too.
Big boy Boomeroo, and it's my firm intention, since I have the means, to blast every Uke into small smithereens.
Grandpa, be careful. Hey, easy. Oh, gee. Who's gonna drop it? Will you or will he?
What? Be patient. We'll see. We'll see.
And so eternity begins. The end. Ladies and gentlemen, the end.